How's it, guys? So today we at Racemeer Bult. We've come to a farmer's day hosted by Gideon Oosthuizen, and it's actually a strip grazing or ultra high density grazing day. Now we've already done a tour of the cattle and I've made a couple of short videos, so the format won't be quite as you guys are accustomed to. A little bit of quick background. These are just all the guys supporting the day, the sponsors and so on supporting the day. But a bit of background on Gideon and what he does. He farms predominantly with Boran cattle. He does have some other cows that he's bought in to increase his herd size. He's been doing this for about 20 odd years, and if he's not the oldest farmer doing it in the country, he's most certainly one of the oldest. I just had a quick word with him now, asked him a few questions, and just as a comparison to what you do, he weans on average between 150 and 180 kilograms per hectare. So again, he's doing ultra high density grazing or strip grazing, and he weans between 150 and 180 kilograms per hectare. So those of you farming conventionally can do the comparison and see whether you think that's impressive or not, but I'm very impressed. And just quickly, of some of the sponsors and suppliers here today, there you've got Staffix. If you want to get energizers, electric fences, things like that, those are the guys you need to contact. Open Solutions, who do insulation, solar panels, things like that. Cedar pumps, I'm going to go over to them now. Solar pumps, all those kinds of requirements. So there's a whole lot of guys here today supporting the day, and there's probably in excess of 300 people. I've done this day before, and yeah, there weren't so many people then. Guys, I think this is the future. I think if you want to farm profitably, this is the future. Anyway, so stick around and let's have a look at the compilation of videos I made over the course of the day. Right, so today we're at Gideon Oosthuizen, who does ultra high density grazing or strip grazing. I don't want to disrupt the other people, so I'm sort of talking a bit soft. As you can see, guys, this is what the grazing looks like. And what happens is he grazes these animals under ultra high density grazing or strip grazing. So he comes in and cleans an area up, and then the area gets about an hour to rest. Now they're going to open up these cattle. He farms with Boran. For those who've been asking about Boran, he farms for Boran, although this is a mixed herd. He's on pure Boran. There's a couple of other animals that I can see in here as well, but predominantly Boran. The whole principle behind this is that you maximize the use of your grazing, and that you get maximum rest. This is a smutsvinger plantation. It's not normal veld grass. As we move across, we'll see some of his other natural grazings. Alright. So these animals are a little bit new to this, it seems. They've just been moved here. And I think with all the people around, I'm just going to walk off quickly. We'll come back to them, because I want to show you guys what it looks like when they finished grazing. In the back end there, he's got a caravan with his herdsmen. Just like everyone else, they suffer with stock theft problems. There's 300 animals in this herd. Just quickly for the record, there's 300 animals in this herd. I think the number of people that are here are affecting them slightly, because they're not moving on like they normally would. Here you can see is the electrical polywire line. Ouch! Someone just Something just munched me in the back here. Electrical polywire line. And these animals will get moved every half an hour, every 45 minutes. It depends on how long it takes them to consume or clean out the block. Coming backwards, and I'll come back to the cattle later, guys. So we're going to see a lot of cattle still today. Filming is a little bit difficult. I don't want to disrupt anyone else that's here, the other guys. But they have a single herdsman who's made sure that no one can see his identity. They have a single herdsman who looks after 300 animals each day and every day. Just want to quickly move across here. So if you have a look there in the background, they've already grazed that and they've cleaned it up. There's nothing left. These camps, as I said earlier, will rest a year. They'll graze them flat. They'll rest a year, and I think a block, by the looks of it, is about 15 meters by 15 meters by 15 meters. So these animals are grazing very compactly. And what they don't graze, they trample down, which serves as a mulch. And I think this is the future of farming. This is how you maximize your kilograms per hectare. Just look at those animals. Die guy die kom moet aan. Kitse guy moet aan. 220. Not 300. Okay, so in a correction, there's 220 here. And not 300. My apologies. Just look how densely packed these animals are. They graze shoulder to shoulder. And you can see the holding area where they come from is flattened, so they've grazed it flat. They don't put a back fence in because there's nothing for them to graze that side. So yeah, 15 by 20 meters, 20 by 20 meters, 220 animals. And they will graze this area until it's flat. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, depends on how long it takes them to consume all this grass. Right, guys, we're at the next herd. I don't have much information on them, but I'm not here so much to film this herd as such. I just want to show you guys this is what it's all about. You have a concentration of manure, you have a concentration of urine, or urine at least. My goodness, I can't even speak English. You have a concentration of manure and urine, and when they're done grazing, the veld gets time to recover, the patties get time to break down. You can see there's good action there, dung beetle action. He hasn't dipped or treated them for ticks or internal parasites in 15 years. That doesn't mean he doesn't do an individual animal, but he doesn't do herd dippings. If he has one animal with a problem, he'll treat that single animal. But just look at that. Just look at that. Nee, you can aangaan. Just quickly, I just want to show you how much interest there is today. All the vehicles, just quickly. So many people here. Guys, this is the future. I'm going to say it a couple of times today. This is how you improve your soil, and this is how you get the maximum out of your grazing. Okay, I just want to close up. That's good ecological life. There's a dung beetle. There's a couple of them. I'm not going to disturb the whole patty. Some of them have crawled in underneath. But those are signs that your system's working and that the ecology is balanced. And that leads to healthier soils, healthier grass, and healthier cattle. Okay, guys, just to show you, this is what the grass looks like when the animals come in. This grass is about 1.5, 1.6 meters high. And when they're done grazing, Look at that. Look at the contrast. So he grazes it short like this. He rests it for a year. And then it looks like this. Now there's a lot of smutsvinger. He does have certain camps where he's planted smutsvinger. But not only smutsvinger. There's other grasses in between. And what's also very interesting is that the animals utilize the weeds. Now many weeds have very high nutritional values. But we've been taught that weeds have no worth, have no value. So the animals graze everything and they clean it. Even oolieboom. I'm not sure what the English name is for that. But just look at that. Look at this grass. I just want to turn around. And you can see as my son is nearly 1.9 meters tall. Look how that grass compares to him. I just want to go closer. They're showing me something. What's Fotian? Oh, okay. And this is what it's all about. Healthy soil life. Let me just get there. Grab gou vir my oop. That's what it's all about. Okay, we disturbed him. But there, krap gou die balletjie net uit. Hy sal hom kom haal. There's the ball of a dung beetle. The dung beetle's just taken cover because we've disturbed him. But that's a healthy ecosystem. Just look at this grass. Man, isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing? There's half of the herd up there. And I just want to zoom in on them a little bit. They're tucked in the corner because we've bothered them. They've done a different approach here. He's playing around with different grazing styles and densities now. But yeah, isn't this amazing? All right, so we're at the next herd. Just before I get to the cattle. The last time I was here, they were actually using the cattle to graze the piece between the tar road and the fence to create a fire break. So I'm assuming that's still going to happen. But even that has affected the quality of this grass. So this specific herd only gets to graze during the day. They're closed up at night because they have to look at stock theft at this specific camp. Yes. Okay. He's just said this herd's also got 300 in. And he also says that he hasn't been able to get to the road reserves because he's got too much grass. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? They haven't had the drought that we've had. So we're still going to get to this. Just coming back quickly. So these animals are corralled at night. The majority of them are Boran types and Boran. Looking at them, most of them look like Boran. Look how beautiful they look. Look at their condition. Guys, these animals don't graze at night. What's very important is when you graze them closely like this, you create competition between them. So they don't waste time mucking about. They climb in and they clean up. And that's what you want, and they graze non-selectively. Just look at these beautiful animals. And you can see they're grazing at a fairly high tempo. He said average cow mass is about 420 kilos. So light, medium frames. But the proof in the pudding is the number of calves and, of course, the quality of the grazing. Now, he gets about a 76% calving rate, I think he said last time. But he still weans a lot more kilograms per hectare than conventional farming. Just look at this. Look at them grazing. Look at them grazing. Look at them grazing. So he's going to double this herd to 600 because he can't graze the grass quick enough. I'm just trying to give you some running commentary as he speaks in the background. There's his Boran bull. And he puts one bull on 20 cows. Because he uses young bulls, he puts one bull on 20 cows. Just look at that. Look at that. Look how they're grazing. Look at the tempo. They've got grass in their mouths and then they move on. This is what competition does. It forces them to eat everything and you get better utilization of your grass and your pastures. Right, so we've just come to another herd. I'm not quite sure how many herds he has. I think he has 8. I don't know if we'll see all 8 today, but not only does he do high density grazing, but he also makes it work for him in terms of fire management. So this is the neighbor's farm. He doesn't rent this grazing, but he has an agreement with the grazer, or with the neighbor at least, where he grazes a strip like this, which is about 15 meters wide. He puts his animals in, they graze it short, and when the winter comes there's not a lot of foliage that can burn. So he uses the animals as a tool, because putting in a tractor costs diesel, costs money, you need a driver, equipment breaks. So he uses the cattle to do the job that many others would do. Now we're just holding on. The animals have moved off, so he's gone to fetch him. There's 300 in this herd. This one I've confirmed. 300 in this herd, so I'm just going to pause here and we're going to wait and see when they get here. Okay, so they've just brought this herd in. Gideon has since confirmed that he's using pure Boran bulls on mixed cows, and I think the reason he does that is twofold. Number one, it gives him slightly bigger carcasses, and number two, I think it was the quickest way he could expand his herd, by buying in females from other breeds. He retains all his own heifers, so even these cows that are not Boran, their offspring will be 50% Boran, and then by the next generation will be 75%. This is the second time I do this day, as I said, and the previous herds, or the previous time, the animals were predominantly Boran. Either which way, I would be interested to know how much kilograms per hectare he's weaning. As I said, this herd is 300 animals. The last time I was here, he was running 550. It was a wetter season then, so he might have decreased his herd size slightly. And what's blatantly obvious is the animals are not as well conditioned as one would expect. Look at that beautiful Boran bull. Man, isn't he beautiful? Anyway, you would think to be this productive these animals would be fatter. And I think the mistake that we make is that, especially in my case, mine might be a little over-conditioned. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that I'm wasting good grazing, because these animals only need to be fat enough to calve consistently and to raise a calf. This herd has little calves running with it, little beautiful Boran calves. I just want to come back to that one over there. And if this were his farm, which it's not, but if this were his farm, or if this were my farm, I would actually bunch them up in this brush, because you'd be forcing them to eat the leaves and the trees and systematically open up this grazing. You can see there's cut horse in front of me. It's a bit of a pain. I'm trying to get all the cattle. But yeah, remember, a cow is a breeding factory. It's nice when they're in good condition. He's been doing this for nearly 20 years, so he's already got the winning recipe. It's nice when they're fat. For me, if I had to look at these animals, my first impression would be that they're under-conditioned. But he's been doing this a very long time and he knows what he's doing, so it just goes to show. Animals can perform off a lower condition than what you would think. Guys, if I'm sounding a little funky, I'm standing one side, I'm trying not to disturb everyone else. There's about 300 people here today, and I'm standing off one side so as not to bother the others, and try and make you guys at least a fairly decent video. Guys, this is the future. This is the future. At the next stop, I'll ask him the question as to how many kilograms per hectare he weans, and I'll compare that to what the traditional systems are. But as you can see, there's nothing wrong with those calves. In fact, they're absolutely beautiful. My son is currently saving some money. He actually wants to buy himself 1 or 2 heifers from Gideon going forward. So we'll see how they are. Oh, look at that calf. Isn't that beautiful? So we'll see how that works out. But it just goes to show, guys, there are other ways of doing it. There are other ways of doing it. Ultra high density grazing. Just something else quickly. He's got a specialist who comes out and checks out his grazing and measures the grasses and the grazing capacity and the number of grass species. Now, he hasn't touched on that point today. If I remember correctly, when he started with us 20 years ago, he had 17 species on the farm, and that has since increased to more than 80 grass species. So he's definitely improved the diversity of his farm. Keep in mind, this camp is not his. He's just cleaning this out as a burning area, as a fire break for the winter. It's the neighbor's property, and he's using the cattle to create a fire break. Isn't that nice?